Chapter 31. The First Step Alone. Chapter 31 feels like the quiet moment after devastation, when the dust has settled but the air is still heavy with what has been lost. The candidates, fractured beyond repair, move forward as shadows of themselves. Their silence is no longer just fear, it is resignation, the acceptance that trust has died and cannot be revived. Sunny, sharper and colder now, begins to act on the resolve he forged in the ruins. He no longer looks to the group for strength. Instead, he watches them with wary eyes, calculating every move, every weakness. The masked stranger remains a looming presence, calm and unreadable, but Sunny has stopped seeing him as untouchable. He understands now that fear is the man's weapon, and clarity is the only shield against it. The dream realm mirrors this shift. Its landscapes are still merciless, its shadows still deep, but Sunny feels something different within himself. He is no longer drifting, no longer reacting, he is choosing. Each step he takes is deliberate, each thought sharpened by the knowledge that survival here demands more than endurance. It demands cunning, resolve, and the willingness to stand alone. Chapter 31 is the beginning of Sunny's transformation. He is no longer just a bitter observer of chaos, he is a survivor carving his own path through it. The nightmare has stripped away trust, companionship, and hope, but in their place, it has given him something harder, something sharper, the first step toward becoming more than prey. Chapter 32. The Cruel Reminder. Chapter 32 arrives like a cold hand on the shoulder, reminding the candidates that the dream realm is not finished with them. The silence of the previous chapter breaks under the weight of new trials, and the world itself seems determined to crush whatever resolve they have managed to cling to. Sunny feels it immediately. His newfound independence, sharpened in the ashes of betrayal, is tested against the relentless cruelty of the dream realm. The landscape shifts into something harsher, more unforgiving. Every shadow feels alive, every silence carries the threat of violence. It is as if the world itself is watching, waiting to see if he will falter. The masked stranger remains a constant presence, calm and unreadable, but now Sunny sees him differently. He is no longer just a predator among prey, he is a reminder of what the dream realm demands: clarity, ruthlessness, and the willingness to sacrifice. Sunny knows that if he hesitates, if he allows fear to cloud his vision, the nightmare will consume him. Chapter 32 is about confrontation, not with monsters alone, but with the truth of survival. Sunny understands that the dream realm will never stop testing him, never stop stripping away illusions. And yet, in the face of cruelty, he feels something harden within himself. He is no longer just enduring, he is learning, adapting, becoming something sharper. This chapter is the cruel reminder that survival here is not a gift. It is a battle fought step by step, shadow by shadow, against a world that thrives on despair. And Sunny, bitter but unyielding, takes another step forward, determined not to break. Chapter 33. Strength in the Shadows. Chapter 33 feels different, not because the dream realm has grown kinder, but because Sunny has. The endless night is still merciless, the silence still suffocating, yet within Sunny there is a shift. His bitterness, once a shield, begins to sharpen into something more: strength. The candidates continue to stumble, fractured and hollow, but Sunny moves with a new clarity. He no longer waits for others to lead, nor does he cling to the illusion of trust. Instead, he begins to carve his own path, each decision deliberate, each step taken with the knowledge that survival here demands more than endurance. It demands cunning, resolve, and the courage to stand alone. The masked stranger remains a looming presence, calm and unreadable, but Sunny no longer feels crushed beneath his silence. He studies him, learns from him, and in doing so begins to understand the predator's methods. Fear may be the stranger's weapon, but Sunny realizes that awareness, the ability to see through masks and lies, is his own. The dream realm mirrors this transformation. Its shadows are still deep, its silence still heavy, but Sunny feels less like prey and more like a hunter learning to move through the dark. Chapter 33 is not about victory, but about the first signs of strength, the quiet realization that Sunny is no longer just surviving the nightmare. He is beginning to adapt to it, to bend it, to claim it as his own battlefield. Chapter 34. Clash in the Dark. Chapter 34 is where Sunny's growing strength finally collides with the merciless cruelty of the dream realm. The silence that has followed them for so long breaks into violence, sudden and sharp, as the nightmare bares its teeth once more. The candidates, already hollowed by betrayal and fear, are forced into confrontation, not just with the monsters that stalk them, but with the truth of their own unraveling. Sunny moves differently now. He is no longer the bitter observer, waiting for disaster to strike. His resolve, hardened in the ashes of trust, pushes him forward. Each decision is deliberate, each movement sharpened by clarity. He begins to act not as prey, but as someone learning to fight back against the darkness. The masked stranger, calm and unreadable, remains a looming presence. Yet Sunny no longer feels crushed beneath his silence. Instead, he studies him, measures him, and begins to understand the predator's rhythm. Fear may still grip the others, but Sunny is learning to walk through it, to see beyond it. The dream realm mirrors this clash. Its shadows twist violently, its silence breaks into echoes of struggle, as though the world itself is watching to see who will endure. Chapter 34 is not about victory, it is about defiance. It is the moment when Sunny's strength, still raw but undeniable, begins to push back against the nightmare. This chapter marks the shift from survival to resistance. Sunny is no longer simply enduring the dream realm, he is beginning to fight it, step by step, shadow by shadow, even if the cost is steep. Chapter 35, Echoes of the Clash. Chapter 35 unfolds in the uneasy quiet after the storm. The candidates, shaken and hollow, carry the scars of the confrontation like weights on their backs. Their silence is not relief, it is exhaustion, the kind that seeps into the bones and makes every step feel heavier than the last. Sunny, however, is different. The clash has sharpened him, carved away hesitation, and left behind something harder. He no longer drifts in the wake of others' choices. Instead, he begins to move with purpose, each decision deliberate, each glance measured. The dream realm has tested him, and though it has not broken him, it has left its mark. The masked stranger remains a constant shadow, calm and unreadable, but Sunny's perspective has shifted. He no longer sees the man as an untouchable predator. Instead, he recognizes him as a rival. Dangerous, yes, but not invincible. Fear may still grip the others, but Sunny has begun to walk through it, to see beyond it, to resist it. The dream realm mirrors this transformation. Its silence is still suffocating, its shadow still merciless, but Sunny feels less like prey and more like someone learning to claim his place within the nightmare. Chapter 35 is not about victory, but about endurance, the realization that strength is forged in struggle and that clarity is the only weapon against despair. This chapter is the echo of the clash, the moment when Sunny begins to understand that survival is not just about resisting the dream realm, but about shaping himself into someone who can endure it. Chapter 36, Defiance in the Dark. Chapter 36 is where endurance begins to harden into defiance. The candidates, weary and broken, continue their march through the merciless dream realm, but the silence between them is no longer just fear, it is the quiet acknowledgement that they are each walking alone. Trust has died, hope has withered, and yet something new begins to stir in Sunny. He has been shaped by betrayal, sharpened by blood, and tested by the storm. Now, in the suffocating quiet, he feels a shift within himself. He is no longer content to simply endure. The dream realm has tried to strip him down to nothing, but instead it has carved out a core of steel. Sunny begins to move differently, not as prey, not as a victim, but as someone who refuses to bow to the nightmare. The masked stranger remains a looming figure, calm and unreadable, but Sunny's gaze no longer falters. He sees the predator clearly now, understands the rhythm of his silence, and recognizes that fear is his greatest weapon. Sunny's defiance is born from clarity. If fear is the blade, then resistance is the shield. The dream realm mirrors this transformation. Its shadows are still deep, its silence still heavy, but Sunny feels less crushed beneath them. Instead, he begins to push back, step by step, thought by thought, carving his own place within the darkness. Chapter 36 is not about victory, it is about defiance. It is the moment when Sunny stops being shaped by the nightmare and begins shaping himself against it. The dream realm may thrive on despair, but Sunny, bitter and unyielding, refuses to be consumed. Chapter 37, The Spark of Resistance. Chapter 37 carries the weight of defiance into something sharper, resistance. The candidates, weary and fractured, continue their march through the merciless dream realm, but Sunny begins to move differently. He is no longer simply enduring, no longer just surviving. His clarity, forged in betrayal and blood, begins to ignite into action. The silence that has haunted them is still heavy, but Sunny feels a spark within it, a refusal to bow, a determination to push back against the nightmare that thrives on despair. Each step he takes is deliberate, each glance sharper, as though he is carving his own rhythm into the darkness. The masked stranger remains a looming figure, calm and unreadable, but Sunny's gaze no longer falters. He studies him, measures him, and begins to understand that fear is not invincible. The predator may thrive on silence and control, but Sunny's resistance is born from clarity, the ability to see through masks, to refuse the weight of fear, and to stand unyielding even when the world itself demands surrender. The dream realm mirrors this shift. Its shadows are still merciless, its silence still suffocating, but Sunny feels less crushed beneath them. Instead, he begins to bend them, to move through them with purpose. Chapter 37 is not about victory, but about the spark, the first sign that Sunny is no longer prey, no longer drifting. He is beginning to resist, to fight, to claim his place within the nightmare. Chapter 38. The Birth of Rebellion. Chapter 38 is where Sunny's spark of resistance begins to burn hotter, transforming into something far more dangerous, rebellion. The dream realm, merciless and unyielding, continues to press down on the candidates, but Sunny no longer feels crushed beneath its weight. Instead, he begins to push back, not just in thought, but in action. The group, fractured and hollow, still moves forward in silence, but Sunny's presence shifts. He is no longer simply enduring or resisting quietly. He begins to carve his own rhythm into the nightmare. His defiance takes shape in choices that break from the group's fear, in movements that show he is no longer prey. The masked stranger, calm and unreadable, remains a predator among them. But Sunny's gaze has changed. He no longer sees the man as an inevitable force. Instead, he sees him as a rival, someone whose dominance can be challenged. Fear may still grip the others, but Sunny begins to walk through it, to stand against it, to rebel against the silence that has defined their suffering. The dream realm mirrors this rebellion. Its shadows are still merciless, its silence still suffocating, but Sunny feels less bound by them. He begins to bend them, to move through them with purpose, as though the nightmare itself is becoming his battlefield. Chapter 38 is not about victory, it is about rebellion. It is the moment when Sunny stops being shaped by the dream realm and begins shaping himself against it. The nightmare thrives on despair, but Sunny, bitter and unyielding, refuses to bow. His rebellion is the first step toward becoming something more than a survivor, something that can fight back. Chapter 39. The Predator's Gaze. Chapter 39 is where Sunny's rebellion begins to draw notice. The dream realm, vast and merciless, seems to pause and watch as his defiance takes shape. The candidates, weary and fractured, continue their march, but Sunny's presence has shifted. He is no longer just another shadow among them. His resistance, quiet but undeniable, begins to ripple outward. The masked stranger feels it too. His calm silence, once absolute, now bends toward Sunny. The predator's gaze lingers longer, sharper, as though he recognizes that something has changed. Sunny is no longer prey drifting in fear, he is becoming a rival, someone who refuses to bow to the weight of despair. The stranger's dominance, built on silence and control, begins to meet the first spark of challenge. The dream realm mirrors this tension. Its shadows stretch deeper, its silence grows heavier, as though the world itself is holding its breath. Every step forward feels like a confrontation waiting to happen. Every glance between Sunny and the masked man charged with unspoken challenge. Chapter 39 is not about open conflict. It is about recognition. The predator has seen the spark of rebellion, and Sunny knows it. The nightmare thrives on despair, but Sunny's defiance has begun to carve a path through it. This chapter is the moment when resistance stops being invisible and becomes undeniable, when the predator finally turns his gaze toward the one who dares to resist. Chapter 40. Edge of Confrontation. Chapter 40 is heavy with tension, the kind that coils in silence and waits to strike. The candidates, weary and fractured, move forward with the weight of despair pressing down on them. But the air feels different now, charged, expectant. The predator's gaze has settled on Sunny, and the quiet between them is no longer just fear. It is challenge. Sunny feels it with every step. His rebellion, once a spark hidden in the shadows, has grown too visible to ignore. The masked stranger, calm and deliberate, begins to shift his attention, as though recognizing that Sunny is no longer prey drifting in fear. He is becoming something sharper, something that refuses to bow. The dream realm mirrors this tension. Its silence deepens, its shadows stretch wider, as though the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for the inevitable clash. Every glance between Sunny and the predator carries weight, every movement feels like the prelude to violence. Chapter 40 is not yet the confrontation itself, it is the edge of it, the moment when defiance and dominance circle each other in silence. Sunny knows the storm is coming, knows that rebellion cannot remain hidden forever. The predator has seen him, the dream realm has marked him, and the path ahead will demand more than resolve. It will demand battle.